Welcome to Be a Voice on USALA Media. I'm Britt James, and I'm happy that you're joining us today. Today, my guest is Darnell Hinton. Hey, Darnell.
What's up?
Not much. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Like I said, I feel really bad that I didn't realize you had a bum foot here, and we made you climb these steep stairs to get here.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. Listen, I've been getting around like this forever now. So I've been in the boot probably for 2 months. I get surgery June 30th. So it is what it is.
So you've been booted for 2 months, surgery. Mm-hmm. You told me that it's the Achilles.
Yes.
And I shared with you, like, in my head, that's like a terror of mine, or because it sounds excruciating because we hear it. Was it really excruciating?
It was painful. It was definitely painful. But it was not excruciating.
No.
Like it felt like I was in a charity basketball game for a good cause. Completely non-contact. So it's not like I was like going and trying to dunk or like doing some crazy move.
Right.
I went and I took a step and I felt like a huge pop. And I could feel it like go up like into my calf. But at first it was a little startling. At first it felt like a gun went off. Like it sounded like a gun went off in my head. I don't know if anyone else heard it, but I heard it. And then because it popped. And then I went to like take a step, and it's like it wasn't there. Like I wasn't able to take a step. It almost felt like I was walking. Imagine like walking, like if this is your foot and you're walking like this straight. Imagine walking like on the side of your foot like this, and then
because there was nothing to support
there was nothing
it.
there. There was nothing to support it. Right. And then I asked the guys around me. I looked and I was like, "Hey, did someone throw something at me?" And they were like, "No, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "Are you guys sure?" It felt like someone threw something at me. And they were like, "No, man, nobody threw something at you." And then, like I said, I went to go take a step and it just wasn't there and I knew something was wrong. And then I went to the hospital and they diagnosed it. And then here we are.
Wow. On June 30th, so they repair the Achilles.
So what they're going to do is they said they're going to take a wire, right? Yeah, it's like this crazy, like, strong wire, and they said it is strong enough to where if you tied it to the ceiling and 2 grown men hung from it, it still would not snap. So
they insert that then to be the support of the Achilles.
They take that, they tie it around whatever they need to tie it around in your Achilles, the 2 pieces that are like separated because it's torn. They tie it together, and then that's how it supports. I don't really know. I'm not.
I want to know now. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole tonight. Now when my insomnia kicks in, I'll go down a rabbit hole about it because I want to know. Like, does it repair? That's crazy. And of course, in my head now, when I think of Achilles, I think of Kill Bill. Did you ever see the movie?
You know what? I am ashamed to say that I have never seen.
I've
never seen the movie.
That just totally went lost. That reference.
I know. Yeah,
totally lost. Has anybody else said it to you? The reference?
No, they have not.
No. Oh, you might want to check that out. You can even Google that sometime. You'll see it. You might not want to either, though.
I know. I do. I want to see it. Yeah, I want to.
Uma Thurman. She's badass.
I do know her.
Yeah, she's badass,
Batman, right?
Yeah.
She played Poison Ivy.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Now that's old Batman.
I remember that.
That's old school Batman.
Yeah. That was a good Batman. I like that Batman.
It was. Well, and it's funny because I was named after a character on Batman from like 60s Batman. Because the Green Hornet.
Okay.
He was Britt Reed.
Okay.
So I was named after him.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Batman is very close to me. Like I am,
Love Batman.
I'm a superhero geek.
Love Batman.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know who you are, Darnell. Mm-hmm. I know who you are. I know all the great things you do. I know, just really, I don't know them in depth. That's why I have you here today. But tell our listeners, who are you?
Yeah.
Who is Darnell Hinton?
So my name's Darnell Hinton. Obviously, I'm 32 years old. I'm from Norristown, Pennsylvania. I'm an individual in recovery. I've been sober for about 5.5, a little bit over 5 years and 3 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
That's
I appreciate
amazing.
that.
What's your date?
March 14th.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's one of those dates you'll never forget.
I tell people it's more important to me than my birthday. It's more important to me than anything.
It is your birthday.
It is my birthday, yeah.
It really is, And I want to interject here because I had a friend who doesn't understand it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, you celebrate it because it's your life. You never had a chance to celebrate life before when you're in, when you're using.
Exactly.
You know, you're not celebrating life. You're trying to run from it.
Exactly.
So now you want to. So that's great. You know,
It's my rebirth.
It's your rebirth. There you go. So right on, over 5 years.
A little bit over 5 years. And it's been a very incredible journey, man. I'm blessed.
Yeah. As you said that, right before you said it's been an incredible journey, I'm thinking to myself, it's 5 years, and all you've done in these 5 years, the things you've done.
Thank you.
That's incredible. So, okay, so you're a person in recovery. May I ask, what was your drug of choice?
Opiates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So I can relate. I can even tell you, yeah, I get it. Totally get it.
Yeah.
How many years?
How many years?
Were you in active addiction?
So the first time I used, I think I was 21.
Okay.
I drank throughout high school. I drank in college. I drank before I was 21. But the first time I used hard drugs or other substances, I was 21 years old, I believe. And then I did not get clean and sober until I was 28. So I want to say like 7 or 8 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
You know, 7 or 8 days is a long time.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So good for you. Good for you. Well, you know, we'll go back to that because I have so many questions when I talk to people who are
ask me.
in recovery, and I want to know. But you know, what was the catalyst? What was that thing that, you know, after 7, 8 years, you know, it was like enough's enough?
To be honest with you, I didn't have like that like defining moment where it was like, this is it. Like the last time I went into treatment, if I'm being completely transparent with you, like the day I walked in, I really had no hope that I was even going to stay clean or sober. I kind of was like, at that point, I was kind of at the point where I guess I had accepted that this is where my life had come to, and this is what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. And it's kind of shocking for me to even say that, or I don't want to say shocking. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's a little weird to hear myself say that. But yeah, that's kind of where I was. It was my 10th treatment center. At that point, I had lost probably like every friend that I ever had. You know, I had lost my girlfriend at that time. I had lost my living situation. I had lost everything at that time, and it was just a really low moment for me. So at that point, I really like believed that like this is what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life, like in and out of treatment centers, and I had kind of accepted that. And then different things happened and time passed, and I heard different speakers come in and into the treatment center, and I started to become a little bit more open-minded and willing, and a culmination of things happened, and combined with a lot of other things, and now here we are today. But I can't say there was any defining moment, if I'm being honest with you.
No, I want you to be honest.
A culmination of things.
It's funny, the more and more I ask some people, like, you know, what was that? You know, there's people that can pinpoint it. There's people that can, but more and more people I talk to now are like, it wasn't, you know, one moment. You know, it was a culmination of several moments. And 10 treatment centers?
10 treatment centers, yes.
And how many years?
In 8 years. So
8 years.
I've been everywhere. I've been just about everywhere.
In and out of treatment centers. And
in and out.
What was your longest clean time in those 8 years?
I would say...
Or sober time, I'm sorry.
Ooh, maybe 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good to hold down in that time, you know?
Yeah.
The only time I had 3 months was when I had the Vivitrol shot, but I knew I could time it right that I could use in between.
Vivitrol saved my life, man.
Me too. I was right on. That makes me happy, dude.
Vivitrol saved my life.
Vivitrol does not get the props that it should get. It was because it was very expensive back then too for me, because 8 years ago I had to drive to Media from Philly to get it. There weren't too many doctors, and I paid $100 a pop to get shot, to have my ass hurt like that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
And but I was the poster child for it. The poster boy for it at my IOP, and it was a great thing.
Yep.
I saw a difference in the way I looked.
Yep.
Everything. So Vivitrol.
Right,
I don't meet many people that say that, so I'm happy.
Vivitrol saved my life. The last time I went to treatment, it was the first time I ever was even open to doing something like that. Like, hey, they said, do you want to try Vivitrol? I was like, no, I don't want to. Like, I'm going to do Vivitrol. And like, they gave it to me, and I took it, I think, for the first 3 or 4 months of my sobriety. And that that, I mean, here we are today. So I can't say that it didn't help me.
That's awesome, because I did 4 or 5. The first 2 were like shaky. I was like, that's what but I'm like, my IOP counselor sat me down. She's like, you're gonna be thrown out.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Vivitrol is good. So I love this. That's cool too. But like I said, that hurt. It hurt.
Yeah, the shot definitely hurt.
So where were you? You were here in the area when you were in treatment?
So I went to, the last time, most recent, I went to Eagleville.
Oh, so yeah, you were in your backyard.
Yeah, I was right. I was literally right in my backyard.
In your backyard.
That was like, that was an experience for me, because I had always like prided myself. I'd always prided myself on being like a good student and a good individual, and like I had plans to go to law school, and I went to college. I did everything you were like supposed to do, right? And I had always like I tried to do I guess a good job of like keeping the other side like away from people. But when I went to, I mean, even though it didn't really work, like the more I used, like people started to find.
And the more
out.
you try to hide it, the more people are like,
Yeah, exactly.
come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But going to Eagleville, I was right in my own backyard. Like I knew all the lunch ladies, I knew all the techs, I knew all the nurses, and they were like, we went to kindergarten together, and now you're in rehab. Like my son used to play basketball with you, and now you're sitting in a treatment center. So it was very humbling for me, and I think that helped me as well, to be honest with you.
I love it, and humbling is something that recovery does for people. And if it doesn't humble you, then you're not working it the right way.
Then you're not working it the right way. No.
No. I joke with people, and I'll tell them, it doesn't, make me any less of a smart ass or any less of a whatever. I joke, but like, if it doesn't humble you and you have an arrogance about you still, there's an issue.
Exactly.
There really is.
Humility is huge for me. And like you said, fun is fun. I mean, we're still going to have fun. We're still going to joke. That's
I'll bust somebody's balls to the very end.
Yeah.
But the humility is...
Humility, for me at least, in my experience, like that is something that like honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, accountability, humility, gratitude, like those things are like huge for me in my recovery process.
Obviously, because you've taken all those things and you've harnessed them into doing some really powerful things with your recovery.
Thank you.
Thank you, because we're going to talk about some of those. And
okay.
I want to talk about Teach One, Feed One. I'm just going to go right to it.
Let's do it.
What is it? And how did you come up with it? And why? Where? The whole thing.
Okay, perfect. So
it's very cool.
Teach One, Feed One is we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And our mission is we provide the tools for sustained sobriety to individuals in recovery and ongoing support to their loved ones. So usually when I say that, I usually get the question, well, what does that mean? So what we do is, I guess our 4 areas of focus are: we provide financial means for safe housing for individuals who need it. We provide equitable access to treatment. We provide vital in-kind resources. Meaning like non-monetary resources. Yeah. And then we also have our own 2 step-down style structured independent living homes as well, located in Pottstown. Yeah, man, we our inception date, I guess, is June 3rd, 2018. Right. I had no plans of ever starting a nonprofit organization, if I'm being completely transparent with you. I just wanted to get into service, and I just wanted to help people for a day, because I was told that that's what keeps people sober, is to get into service. So we went out to Kensington one day. Let me backtrack. I was sitting in IOP where I got my Vivitrol shot, and it was a Friday. The counselor went around the room. He was like, hey, how about we just ask everyone what everyone's going to do this weekend? And everyone said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then it finally got to me, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to declare what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do it. So he got to me, and I said, I'm going to go to Kensington, and I'm going to feed the homeless. And I remember like looking at him and him looking back at me, and he kind of gave me like this look as if to say like, well, that's pretty noble of you. And at that point, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a license. I didn't get a car or a license. I didn't have a car or a license for the first 2.5, 3 years of my sobriety. So I'm thinking in my head, like, I don't even know how I'm going to get to Kensington. I don't know who I'm going to go to Kensington with, but I told this man that I'm going to do it. And he's he believes me. So I guess at this point I have to do it now. So I walked out of the room because I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I can curse on here.
Yeah,
but,
you can curse.
Okay. Right. I walked out of the room and I was like, okay, I have to make this happen now because this man thinks I'm going to go to Kensington and feed the homeless. Went to Instagram. I put up an Instagram post and I said, hey, I'm looking for a couple people to join me this weekend. I want to go to Kensington and give back to the homeless. 6 people ended up showing up. I think we put together $42 exactly. We bought 8 boxes of pizza, and indirectly we started something that I don't think any of us could have ever imagined.
It's usually the way it starts. Mm-hmm. I'm just smiling because it sort of parallels how Philly Unknown
exactly
as well. I just wanted to do service one day. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to go back and give to the community that I took so much away from in my active use because I wasn't from there and I was buying from there. I was, and that's the way all good deeds, I think, go into something good. So, you devoted your life to service that day. Yeah. That was your calling to service.
Yes.
So you did that, and all of a sudden, how did you feel seeing, first of all, your first day, probably, going, out of an IOP and going into Kensington?
I was 90 days clean at that time.
90 days.
Yeah.
90 days.
Yeah.
And, of course, everybody will say it to you like, oh my gosh, what are you, crazy? Mm-hmm. What were you thinking? Well,
to be honest with you, I really wasn't thinking.
Exactly.
I was just like, all right, they're saying get into service. Let me go get into service. So I really wasn't thinking. Looking back on it, would I recommend someone at 90 days to go into Kensington and put themselves in that situation? I feel like the answer is to say no, but then I also feel like I'd be a hypocrite to say no because I did the same exact thing.
I was 60 days.
Yeah. I did the same exact thing. So who am I to say no? But I guess the textbook answer would be no,
But you had a support team with you. Mm-hmm. You had people with you.
I did.
These people showed up. Were they friends? Were they strangers? They were friends.
Friends, two strangers. There was like 4 friends and like 2 strangers.
Are they still around and involved?
So not the 2 strangers, but the other 4, yes.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
You started a movement is what you did. A
collaborative effort.
A collaborative effort. You started a movement. Together you started this movement, Teach One, Feed One. And so how did you come up with this name? What was that? How,
So at first, I think we were just like going back and forth, and I think the name was going to be Everybody Eats. Because we were just we were focused on feeding people in the Kensington area, but I didn't want the mission to be the mission that I wanted to set out on was a lot larger than just feeding people, like literally feeding people. So I guess the name Teach One, Feed One, it's kind of like if you look at our logo, right? Our logo has the city of Philadelphia. It has like the skyline of Philadelphia, and then it has a hand, and that hand is handing a fishing rod to another hand that's trying to like grab the fishing rod. So the idea is if you give a man a fish, then you feed him for the day. But if you teach a man how to fish, then you can feed him for the rest of his life. So that's kind of like where the name came from.
I know, and I love it because I love the fact of when I hear it, I know exactly where it comes from.
Yes.
And anybody who knows that old adage knows that it's the truth.
Yep.
It's show somebody.
Exactly.
Show me and I learn. Mm-hmm. People forget about that. That if you show me, I will learn.
Yes.
If nobody shows somebody something, how will they ever know?
Exactly.
If I didn't know about how to, go clean and sober, how would I ever know? If somebody didn't take me by the hand and show me in treatment, and
exactly.
So you do that, you teach. So 2018, so you're looking at 5 years on that. So right after your, geez, man. So what else does it do? What else does Teach One, Feed One do besides that?
So we, so like I said, we provide the tools for sustained sobriety to individuals in recovery and ongoing support to their loved ones. So, for example, right? So we've done so many things. We've given vehicles away. We've started college funds for kids. We've placed hundreds of individuals into treatment. We've started scholarships of recognition in individuals' names who are no longer with us to kind of honor them. We provide like clothing and other kind of in-kind means for individuals. So if you're going into treatment, right, and you call us and you say, hey, I just got to treatment, I'm looking for support. I seen you guys have like a sober living program. Is there any kind of support that I can apply for? They fill out an application. They can apply for monetary support once they leave, and we can provide them with the financial means to go into safe housing, or if not, they can apply for in-kind means, and we can send someone to the treatment center that they're at. We can provide them with clothing, brand new cosmetics, brand new hygiene products, brand new feminine products for female, whatever the case may be, right? Or if they're leaving from treatment and literally like they're leaving with just the clothes on their back, we can go get them brand new clothes, cosmetic, whatever the case may be.
That's amazing, because people don't realize that majority of people, when they leave treatment, they're leaving with just the clothes on their back.
Exactly.
And potentially whatever belongings they have in an orange garbage bag.
Exactly.
And that's the way we see them show up at the sober living homes. Correct?
Yes.
And that's a little disheartening, isn't it?
Yes.
To know. So the sober living homes, it's a trickle down effect of this whole thing.
Yes.
How many homes do you have?
10 total.
You have 10 sober living homes? And there are a mix of male, female?
Male and female.
Male and female. 10.
Yes.
Man, how do you do 10? I have trouble with keeping up with 2. You know?
I have a amazing staff. That's how you do it. Amazing. Like, they're the reason that I'm able to sit here and do this interview right now, because they're just incredible. So we have a director of admissions. His name is Rich. He's incredible. We have a general manager. His name is Frank. So he oversees like the rules and regulations of the program, make sure everyone's doing. He's like the bad guy, so I don't have to be the bad guy. We have a female director of operations. Her name is Rachel. She's incredible. And then we have a male director of operations. His name is Scott, and he like oversees all of he oversees the entire program. But the point I'm making is, and we also have Matt. He's our assistant general manager as well, and he's incredible as well. He's like our handyman. So like if anything needs to be fixed in any of the houses, the guys will submit like a maintenance request. He'll fix it. But he does a lot more than that as well. He's amazing with the guys. He sits, he talks with the guys. He's an amazing recovery support. And those guys are the reason why, or the reason how I'm able to do or oversee 10 houses.
Well, that's smart. It's a smart leader too. You know, you surround yourself by the people who help build you higher together.
Those guys are awesome, man.
And that's amazing to hear that. 10 homes, though. I am like blown away by 10 homes. That's great. And where are your homes located?
Pottstown.
Pottstown. All 10 of them?
All 10 are in Pottstown.
All 10 are in Pottstown.
I'm looking to expand. I'm actually looking to open one like in this area, but
yeah, I might have one you can take from you know?
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Actually, I enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy it. But and the homes, they have the name.
They have a name, you said?
Yeah.
Unity Sober Living Homes. So Unity Sober Living Homes has. So I'm going to explain this, right? So through Teach One, Feed One, right? I'm going to make this come full circle. We, because a lot of people ask, well, how did you get into sober living? This is how I got into sober living. Crazy story. So through Teach One, Feed One, right? I did not have sober living homes. I had the nonprofit. I had other like entrepreneurial things that I did, but I did not operate sober living homes. I called a close friend of mine who used to operate sober living. And I said, hey, listen, man, we're looking to bless someone through the organization. We want to give away a car to someone, because I remember my first 2.5 years of sobriety and recovery were like very difficult, because I didn't have a car, I didn't have a license, and getting to and from work was a pain in the ass, because if, you know, at 29, 30 years old, having to call my mom and ask my mom to take me to work and drop me off at work, having people like, that was embarrassing. And if she couldn't do that, because I couldn't depend, it wasn't her job to take me to work. So if she couldn't do that, then I had to try and ask a friend if they could take me. And if they couldn't take me, then I had to take the bus. And if I couldn't take the bus, then I had to walk. And if I couldn't, If the weather didn't permit, then I had to take Uber, which I didn't have money to take Uber. A lot of times I was overdrafting my account to get to and from work.
Right.
So I said, we're looking for an individual who fits kind of that description, and we want to bless them with a vehicle. And he said, you know what? I got the perfect individual. She's coming up on a year clean. Her son lives in Allentown, I think Allentown. She takes like 4 buses to go see him every weekend. Got the perfect person for you. And I said, okay, perfect. We went out, we got a car. It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. I don't even think they exist anymore, if I'm being honest with you. Or maybe they do. I haven't seen one in a while.
I don't remember. Yeah, no, me either.
I haven't seen one in a while. So we got a Mitsubishi Eclipse. We got it nice and detailed by a friend of mine. He detailed it. We put a big red bow on it. And we planned everything out. We showed up to the house. There were so many people with us. It's documented. I'll send you the video too.
Awesome.
And we knocked on the door and we told her that we were there to surprise her with a vehicle. We surprised her with the vehicle, right? It was beautiful. It was amazing. She was crying. Everyone was crying. Anyway, after that, the guy that I reached out to ask him if I could, to tell him that I was looking for someone to give this car away to. He said, hey, are you free tomorrow? I need someone to speak at my house meeting. To be honest with you, I wasn't free, but and I had 1,000 other things to do. But I said, you know what? If you need a speaker, I'll be there. Spoke at the house meeting.
Of course you did.
Yeah. I spoke at the house meeting. Didn't really think anything of it. Of course, I just spoke. A couple other guys came up. We exchanged information, just basic fellowship. Exchanged some phone numbers with some guys, and I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 days later, that individual, there was a situation that took place where he was no longer able to oversee those houses. And I had heard from another friend of mine that this had taken place. So I was like, okay, well, first I want to make sure, this is my friend, I want to make sure he's okay. So tried to get in contact with him, but his phone was not ringing. It was off, I guess. So I went to one of the phone numbers that I had got from that day from one of the guys that I had never met before. And I was just like, all right, let me just call this guy and see if he knows anything. And I called him and he said, yeah, that's what, this is the situation. He's okay, but I don't think he's able to oversee these houses anymore. And, there's about, I want to say 50 residents that are on the verge of being homeless because of this situation, and, he speaks really highly of you. Is this something you would be interested in if everything checks out? And I was like, well, if everything checks out legally, then yeah, of course, this would be something that I would be interested in. So I ended up getting in contact with the guy. We talked it out. I ended up purchasing the business. But long story short, what I'm saying is if we never gave that car away, right, then he would have never asked me to speak. He would have never been able to ask me to speak at his house meeting. And if he never asked me to speak at his house meeting, I would have never got that dude's phone number to be able to reach out. And if I don't reach out to that guy, then I don't think I'm in a position to be in the position that I'm in now to oversee the 10 houses. So,
and it's what I always tell everybody. It's about connections. It really is about connections. Have you seen the Johan Hari TED Talk?
I did not know.
You've heard of Rat Park?
I have, yes. Actually, is that the one you're talking about?
The guy who...
The opposite of addiction is connection?
Connection.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Him.
Yeah.
My favorite. I love it. It's just, everybody thinks it's recovery, but he says it's connection.
Exactly.
Which I agree with. Because so much of our time when we are isolated and we're with people that we think are friends and they're not, and there's no connections. And all of a sudden you said you lost all your friends when you were in addiction. And I did too. We all do. It's sort of a common pattern. It's a domino effect.
Yeah.
But those connections that you build, and what you do with them, and look where you got.
Exactly.
Look where you are.
Yeah.
It's something I say quite often, and I'm not sure if it's because of my own background with some of the shady things I've done in my background. But I always say that people in recovery make some of the best entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure if it's because we are used to the hustle of when we're using, or if it's because I was, when I was selling because I was using, or whatever the case may have been. But there are so many people in recovery that use it for good now. and you're one of them. And you are doing such great things. So you've got the Teach One, Feed One. Mm-hmm. You have the Unity Sober Living, which is part of that umbrella there.
Yes.
But you also have then a business.
Yep. So I have Teach One, Feed One, which is the nonprofit organization.
Right.
I have Unity Sober Living Homes, which is a for-profit recovery house business. I've got R&R Junk Removal, which is a junk removal business. I have Smells Lovely Cleaning, which is a commercial cleaning business.
I forgot about that one. I was just going to the junk removal. I totally forgot we were cleaning. I remember you posted. So there's there's 3 for-profits. Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
And then I also have ATMs, which is a new venture of mine.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that venture. What made you decide to do that?
Well, I'm not the type of person that just likes to have money just sitting around, where I can just to check my account and just go, oh yeah, that number looks good. No, I don't want to do that. So I'd rather just create another source of income where I can take that money and I can put it into something and it can just slowly accumulate over time. So I'd rather take however X amount of dollars and put it into something and just have that money just continue to make more money over time. Have
you always had an entrepreneurial spirit?
I like to say yes.
Okay.
Maybe I lost it for a while. I did. So I did. I remember when I was 10, 11, I used to cut grass for money and shovel people's walkways and stuff.
Yeah.
I've always been a hustler. Mm-hmm. I lost it for a long time, if I'm being honest with you, when I was going through my struggles, but I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset, yes.
That's awesome. And you could tell. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be doing all this and, smiling about it still. You might be a little crazed about it, but
definitely crazy.
Definitely crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's been in 5 years you've accomplished so much. So you do this for other people. You do the Teach One, Feed One for other people. Mm-hmm. It's for profit, yes, the sober living, but I want people to know, even if it's for profit, you are devoting yourself to service, because what goes along with that is a lot more than just getting rent from somebody to live there.
Yes.
You're making connections. Mm-hmm. You're affecting human lives as well. You have the junk removal, which it consists of the cleaning. Mm-hmm. What do you do for Darnell?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I mean, Darnell. This is sort of this is a part of who Darnell is. Mm-hmm. That's not who Darnell is. What do you do for yourself, man? To stay on track, to stay focused, to stay smiling, to stay positive about this.
So I love to read.
Okay.
I love to work out. I love to train, exercise, which this has completely taken that away from me. But yeah, I love to read. I love to exercise. I love to, that's my form of meditation, to just be with myself, or try at least to be with myself and my thoughts or my music, and just get away and just zone out for an hour or two.
Do you try to do that every day?
I try to do that every day, sometimes twice a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it hard?
It is hard. It's extremely difficult. Yeah.
Isn't it weird that you try twice a day for an hour to take time to yourself, and there's 24 hours in a day, and it's hard to do for you?
It's extremely difficult to do. It's extremely difficult to do. And it's hard, balancing mentally, because I have to, like you said, I have to remind myself that, with the nonprofit, obviously, you are there you exist to be there for others, and that's your job. It's people, usually when someone reaches out, I would say 9 times out of 10 it's because they're looking for assistance, which is what we're there for, but there's also a healthy balance and boundaries, and other other boundaries that come along with that, where you kind of have to, I guess, put those in place, because it can just be very difficult to manage. And I was listening to what Meg was saying, and she's exactly right. I know exactly what she's saying, as far as being able to balance both and being able to set healthy boundaries, because it's needed, and you'll go crazy without it.
Yeah, and I want to focus on the fact that you said healthy boundaries. Mm-hmm. people can set boundaries all they want.
Yes.
But if you're not setting healthy boundaries and you're not holding yourself and others to them, it's never going to be successful.
Exactly.
And it's only going to like really set you back. And it's something that we had a hard time with when we were in our active addiction.
Yes.
You know,
I definitely did.
oh, me too. You know, I think that's sort of a common trait, you know, when it goes that. And, you know, I think people don't realize that going into recovery and your recovery journey is basically relearning life all over again.
Exactly.
I don't think people understand that.
It's not only recovery, it's discovery. It's like you're discovering like you're discovering a lot of things, but you're discovering like who you really are and a lot of other things as well.
Well, in those 7-8 years of using, did you ever think you would be where you're at today?
Never.
You know?
Never.
I think about this, and in my mind, you know, when I was using, I always was hoping one of two things. I was either going to live in a utopia or be dead.
I never thought I would be like, it's truly a blessing and it's truly an honor to be here and be able to like share this platform with you, and hopefully someone watches and they can like just connect with something and it give like you said, I never thought I would be where I am today, like 7 or 8 years ago. It's almost like unfathomable.
That's
in a lot of ways, if I'm being completely honest with you. Like I'm just someone who's been in and out of treatment, you know, 10 times, and you know, I've done a lot of damage to people. You know, I've hurt a lot of people. I've done a lot of damage to friends, families, you know, co-workers, employers, and now like coming out on the other side, like there's people who like actually like they look up to me, you know, and they look to me for advice and for answers. And there's like people who like there's individuals, all not just like in my like here in like Pennsylvania or like Montgomery County, whatever. Like there's people in like Knoxville, Tennessee, and there's people in like Boston, Massachusetts, and there's people in Houston, Texas, who like they reach out to me just to like tell me, hey, I'm celebrating 90 days today. And it's like, you chose me to reach out to share that information. It's like, who am I? Like, you know? So it's almost, I'm just very grateful.
It's a little surreal sometimes.
Surreal, that's the exact word.
It really is. And when you're saying it, I know, you know, from the documentaries I was in, like, I have people reach out and I'm like, who are you? And why me?
Why me? Yeah.
You know, why? But that's an honor. That's an honor, and that's where the humility then comes from too, because that is very humbling to know that you affect people in that way.
Exactly.
And you have, and you still do, and you're going to continue to make your mark with that, and that's something that's great. So you're originally from the Norristown area?
I'm from Norristown, yes.
Still family around there?
Yes.
And they're supportive now?
Extremely supportive.
Supportive now?
Yeah.
And making amends. Making amends is something that is so important to us as we're in recovery, because we've really fucked things up.
Yes.
We burnt it all down, man.
Yep.
Let's face it. You know, we're like Cousin Eddie in Christmas Vacation with the flamethrower. We just go out and burn it all down. You know, but then when we have the chance to build it all back up and we make these amends, was it easy for you?
No.
Was it easy for you to go back with your tail between your legs, as I say, knowing what you did? Or was it because you were afraid of how they were going to react? Or both?
Both. It wasn't easy.
Pride?
A little bit of pride, a little bit. I was more so like so ashamed with myself, you know, and like, like facing myself and having to like relive that. But you know, I just had to understand that, you know, I have to be able to accept whatever answer they give me. So whatever they tell me, you have to going into it before you even get there, being okay with the outcome before the outcome even happened, whether they tell you to fuck off or whether they tell you to, you know, hey man, listen, I'm just really happy for you. I just want you to stay clean. So just having my mind made up before I go into the situation, knowing that I have to accept whatever the outcome is. And just knowing that the process is for ultimately, yeah, I'm there to make an amends, but the process is it's really for you to clean your side of the street, you know? So it's not really, you're telling them like, hey, this is what I did. You know, I apologize. And if you're willing to, you know, accept my apology, then, you know, I'd be willing to fix it in any way that I possibly can. And as long as you're able to do that, no matter what they tell you, you did your part. You know, that's really all you can do. So
That's all you can do. You can only control what you can control.
exactly.
Has anybody not accepted your apology?
Yes. And there's some amends that I have not made yet, and there's some that I guess my sponsor has told me that you probably should not make that amends because it'll cause more damage.
Yeah,
you know what I
some
mean.
things were left unsaid. Let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's nice to hear this because then I don't feel so bad for myself.
It's
too.
real.
It's real. Yeah.
Reality. Yeah.
And you know what you said before, where you go into it with, you know, you're okay with hearing what you hear. You're accepting of it. It's because they teach us that too. That expectations are just premeditated resentments.
Exactly.
And that's what happens to us. And I love to hear that because that is the humbling part, Darnell, too, because people don't realize you have to. It's hard to face what we face now. It's not easy, you know. I still sometimes like come up with something in my head. I might think of something that I did, and then all of a sudden I'm like horrified for like a week. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And it's like, does that happen to you ever?
All the time.
And I want to call that person. I want to tell them or say something. Or if I run into them 9 out of 10 times, they're like, I don't remember that. But I do. And it's like, you know, it's that trauma that, you know, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
But your family's supportive, and the friends that came back, they're there.
They're there. Yeah.
They're there.
And I've made new friends.
So that group that went out with you initially on the streets of Kensington, were they friends of yours that were supportive of you, or were they people you just knew, like acquaintances?
They were people it was my sister.
Okay.
2 friends I grew up with, like lifelong friends. 1 or 2 people that I just knew. And then, 3 people that I just knew, and 3 people that I just knew.
And they're around.
They're around.
And they're still around.
They're still around, yes.
So they have become your family now.
Absolutely. Yes.
Which is amazing to see how that works too. You know, did you ever think that would occur?
No.
No. It's sick.
There's like so many things, there's so many things over the past 5 years that have happened that like, there's no way I could have predicted that would have happened. Like there's, like for instance, we have, do you know Val Felici?
Well,
Valerie?
Val, Ned, yeah.
Yes.
That's she actually speaks extremely highly of you.
That's like my mom.
Yes.
I love her. So just to prove or to go into this. So we have a scholarship in her son's name. It's called the Ned Felici Scholarship, and we give it away. We give it away every year on February 24th. It's a $500 scholarship, and it is.
Why on that date?
That's the day he passed away. So, and we give it away every year.
How much? Sorry.
It's a $500 scholarship, and it is in recognition of, or it's in support of a child that has been affected by addiction. And the reason why is because when Ned passed away, he left behind a kid. So we want to, the point of the scholarship is to help a kid who is in a similar situation. So we give that away every year. The family, their family, they select the recipient. We have nothing to do with who gets selected. They select who is the recipient of the scholarship. We just essentially show up, we do a presentation, we honor Ned. But the point of the scholarship is to kind of, reinforce to the family and to everyone else that, Ned's name is going to continue to live on, and that his name did not go in vain, and to use that day as kind of like a celebratory day instead of like a day where it was, I guess, like really traumatic. And I've heard this from the family. So like a day that used to be really traumatic and bring a lot of sadness. Like they invite all their friends, they invite all their family, they invite a lot of people. They make it like a celebratory day. But the point I'm making is this is a police officer from Northeast Philly who I never knew before I started Teach One, Feed One. And I would have never met this woman and made this connection with this lady and started this beautiful, put together this beautiful scholarship to honor her son if there was no Teach One, Feed One. So like it's given me, it's put me in a lot of situations, and it's like there's thousands of those other types of like scenarios where like without that I would have never. There's no way I could have imagined being where I am today, because like I would have never met this lady before if that wasn't the case.
And that's amazing to do. That you know, to be able to have that connection with her, and yeah, her and her husband are both police officers,
Yes. Yep.
which is wild.
Yeah.
And they are very supportive of our community. I think people have to realize that just goes to show you that nobody
Exactly.
is immune to what we experience.
Yes.
And everybody is somebody.
Yep.
And everybody knows somebody. And if somebody doesn't raise their hand and say that they do, I'll probably say, I think you're lying to me. You know? But you have touched people in so many ways in that aspect. You have your 10 homes.
Yes.
How many people are in each home, roughly?
So our smallest home holds, I think, 8, and then our largest, or 6, and then our largest home holds 13.
Jeez. So is the small one a step down home? Or?
Yes, the two step down houses only hold 6, and I do that on purpose.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Give them a sense of,
That's why we started it. So the step down houses, the entire like premise of the step down houses was to essentially create like a graduation house for individuals who have phased out from the recovery house but may not be fully ready to go and get their own apartment. Maybe they're just not financially ready. Maybe they don't have the credit necessary, or maybe they just don't fully trust themselves yet to move out on their own. So they still get drug tested regularly, but they are granted a lot more freedom. So they can have overnights whenever they want. They can have guests come over. It's essentially like a independent sober living with a lot of drug testing.
as it should be.
Yeah,
That's why you do it.
Until they're able to move on. And we just had 2 individuals actually just move out last week and get their own place. So
It's awesome.
yeah,
That's a feeling of accomplishment for yourself as well.
So it is the best feeling. Like, it is the absolute best feeling, being able to watch that maturation process and being able to watch individuals come in the program and, come in. So like when they come in and they don't have anything. And then like seeing like the, how discouraged they are and like how frustrated they are and how like broken down and beaten they are. And just being able to be there for them and like give them some encouragement, and then watching them go and just small wins, like I got my ID today, or I was able to call the county assistance office and I got my food stamps turned on, and then that turns into, hey, I went down to JP Mascaro's and I got a job today. Hey, I got my first paycheck today. Hey, I was able to see my kids for the first time today. Hey, I was able to. I just got a higher paying job. Hey, now I'm in a position where I can go see my kids every weekend. Like when they share that kind of stuff with me, I don't even have kids, but I feel like I'm seeing my kids for the first time, like that's how I feel. Or when they get like their first job, I feel like I'm getting my first job. So it's like, it is quite literally the reason why I do that.
I don't know if anybody can see this, but there's tears right there in your eyes right now. Really? You're welling up a little bit there, which is awesome because you made the statement that they're for-profit recovery homes. And, recovery homes get bad raps to begin with. I know that.
Yes.
But there are so many amazing ones out there that are doing things like yourself, and you care.
Yes.
It's not that you're taking that compassion away. You're pouring it into it, and that's why it's succeeding. And that's why the residents are succeeding.
Yes.
You're a part of somebody's success.
I love it.
That is sick.
I love it. It's I wouldn't have purpose without that, so.
You're really living the true life of recovery, man.
Yeah.
You really are.
Thank you.
Did you ever think this was possible?
No, not at all. Not at all. I never in a million years thought this was
Let alone like businesses, dude. Like where did this come from, this entrepreneurial spirit or businesses, especially like you do like with the junk removal and the cleaning, like why them out of any business you could do?
So they're service-based businesses. So junk removal, everyone's always going to have trash. So
a lot of the times the people that have the trash there's underlying issues that come with those junk removals too.
What do you mean?
Like I know a friend of mine has a junk removal company, but he deals a lot with people like hoarding and mental health and stuff like
there you
that.
go. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And like that's where that junk comes from. Like people are still, and you're helping it as service because you're helping people to free themselves of it. So yes, I get that.
So it's a service-based industry. That and cleaning. Everyone's always going to need their office cleaned or their house cleaned. Whatever. We do commercial, but everyone's always going to need their establishment cleaned. But more so than that, man, if I'm being completely honest with you, more so than that, like our junk removal business, we only hire, I don't want to say only, but we hire people with criminal records and we hire individuals in recovery. So we're second chance friendly. And I can't tell you how many times individuals have called our phone and they have said, hey, I'm looking to schedule junk removal. Excuse me. I called a couple other places, but the reason why I'm connecting with you guys is because I went on your website and I seen that you guys are second chance friendly, and I seen that you guys hire individuals in recovery. My son's actually in recovery, and I really love what you guys are doing. So that and just my whole like entrepreneurial journey, it brings other benefits to me like personally, but more so than that, it's about providing an example for individuals for people like my people, so like individuals in recovery. It's about providing an example for them and showing them that like I'm no different than you, and you don't have to work at Walmart for the rest of your life if you don't want to. Like you don't have to, just because you've been to treatment 12 times and you've lost custody of your kids and you live at home with mom now, and things are not looking too optimistic for you at the present moment. Like you have the power to change that, and you can do it if you want to. So just being able to provide an example and use social media as a platform to show people like, hey, like I'm no different than you.
You're being a voice, dude.
Yeah, I'm no different than you. If I can do this, then you can do the same exact thing. So,
and that's great because, I look at it and I think what happens is people are afraid to tell people. It's that stigma that we face. So when people realize that, hey, you're just like me. Even though we have no other similarities in our lives, or there's no other, we will be connected by no other thing possible in this world, but that one thing is a very powerful connection.
Exactly.
Because we don't find many people who understand that. Or you have that parent that's like my son, my daughter, or my husband, or myself, and they're afraid to say it. And you yourself are bringing this out of people. So you're giving them a voice.
Exactly.
So it's, once again, it's that trickle down effect you're doing.
Eliminating the stigma. So yeah, man.
Were you afraid of that stigma when you first went into recovery?
Yes.
Were you afraid to let people know that you were in recovery?
Yeah.
What did you do those years when you were in addiction? Did you work? Were you functional?
I worked.
Okay.
I worked. I was functional.
So you, like myself, like you said, you kept that side different.
I tried to at least.
You tried, but
it didn't really work.
You did.
Yeah, it didn't really
when
work.
You come in all messed up.
Exactly. I worked. I was functional, but I was afraid. I wasn't willing to accept that. I wasn't willing to accept that I was, an addict, alcoholic. I wasn't willing to accept that, and I wasn't willing to be, I guess, I wasn't willing to accept that, so I would put myself in situations, like I would go places that I didn't need to be around, people I didn't need to be around, like just trying to be normal. So like, for instance, like I remember specifically going to, like I was living in a recovery house in Levittown, and I was in my hometown of Norristown just for the weekend, just because my mom said, come home for the weekend. I came home for the weekend. And I remember going to, a friend texted me and said, hey, why don't you come to such and such is having a birthday party. Why don't you come by? It's at the Valley Forge Casino or something like that. And they had like an outside pool area. Anyway, I was like 60 days clean. I had no business going there. And I remember like being there around a bunch of people, and just not being okay, feeling like I wasn't drinking, but I felt like everyone was watching me not drink, and I felt like they knew something. I felt like they were like judging me, or like they were looking at me weird, like, why is Darnell not drinking? And that was just all in my head. And I relapsed that day for that. I wanted to like get rid of that feeling of feeling like people were staring at me, or people were wondering why I wasn't drinking. And I just said, you know what, fuck it. Just,
I want to feel normal.
I want to feel
like
normal.
them.
I want to feel normal because I was looking for a connection.
Right.
I was looking for a connection because I wasn't okay with myself.
Yeah.
And I hadn't worked on myself. And I wasn't, if I, like, today, I don't care where I go. I can go anywhere, you know? Like, am I going to hang out? And I've went to bachelor parties for weekends where guys were doing a lot more than just drinking, and I've been completely okay. Do I recommend doing that for weeks at a time? No, but I can do that today because I'm okay with me.
There you go. And I love to hear you. I just want you to know that everything you have said today has just reinforced my recovery.
Oh, awesome.
And you know, I'm coming up. I've had a rocky road in recovery. I mean, nobody has an easy time in recovery. I don't think, you know, anybody who says, "Oh, recovery's been easy," you know, I think they're going to tell you, I'm going to say you're lying to me.
I've done the steps twice.
You know, and I want to work them again because it makes you remember who you are. You know, you never forget who you are, that aspect. But everything you have said, just so you know, and I want, and I'm you know, very transparent because that's who I am. I've been ever since I went into recovery. I've been going through some really crappy days, and this has helped me to hear all the things you said, to know that there's these possibilities, to know that there's hope at the end of each day from what you put into it. Because what you put into it, you are reaping the rewards and getting out of it in many different ways. And I'm not just talking about profiting monetary, you know, because some people have to realize too, just because you own a business, you may not be profiting from it.
No. Yeah. It doesn't always work that way.
It doesn't look, you know.
There's a lot of months where you are just paying bills and you're paying everyone else and you're not getting paid.
Yeah. And so, you know, or ends up, you know, somebody can't pay their rent, so you're paying that rent. You know,
exactly.
So but thank you, man. Thank you for being who you are and for being, you know, or doing what you do and just being real. That's hard to come by in today's world. I'm glad we were able to make this connection because like I said, it just reinforces that we're on the right path.
Exactly.
You know, you're a music dude. You said you like music?
I love music.
Yeah. What type of music you into?
R&B, rap.
Yeah.
I listen to a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything?
Yeah.
Country?
Not so much. Not so much country, but I don't live under a rock. If like I couldn't name songs, but if I was in the car with you or with someone and a song came on, I could identify with it. I'd be like, you know what? I know this song.
Pop country.
It was played at a party in 2008 or 2000. You know, I can do that.
I get it. No, I get it. I'm not a huge. I know country. I'm not a huge fan, but when you said you liked it all, I'm like, country.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
A little bit. Yeah, very cool. You know, if I could ask you to tell, you know, the listeners, you know, one piece of advice that you could give them in reference to life, not just recovery, in reference to life, what would you tell them?
So one of my favorite quotes is, the man that plants seeds. How's it go? The man that plants seeds, knowing that he will never get the benefit of seeing the tree, has at least started to understand the meaning of life. Something like that. Basically, and what that means is like, so Teach One, Feed One, there's thousands of other nonprofits out there. There's Boys and Girls Club of America. There's American Red Cross. There's whatever the case may be, Habitat for Humanity. These nonprofits have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, some of them. We've only been around for 5 years, right? So I am fully okay knowing that even though we've done a lot of amazing things, the best parts of what we're doing are going to come long after I'm gone. Long after I'm gone.
Your legacy, man.
And I'm planting the seeds for others to benefit from. And I'm okay with, you know, planting the seeds now that I'm not even going to be around to witness like the true like benefits of what comes from this. they're going to come after I'm long gone. So not being, I guess, to the listeners, not being afraid or being okay with that. They say that there's intrinsic, I guess, value in service or helping others in a meaningful way. And the concern is simply blessing the lives of other people. And influence should be your motive, not recognition. So just trying to do my best to influence the people that are coming behind us and plant as many seeds as possible, and hopefully influence as many individuals as possible, and hopefully people can take something from that and do the same.
And I think you are, man. I think you are definitely on that right track, and I believe that you probably influence a lot more people than you know at this point in time. Darnell, what social media, if they need to find you, get a hold of you, where can they find you?
So we have Teach One Feed One. Our Facebook and Instagram is just Teach One Feed One.
Fishing Rod, City of Philadelphia logo.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. And then for everything else, Unity Sober Living Homes, it's just Unity Sober Living Homes. And then I do have a personal Instagram, but I don't know what the tag is, to be completely I think it's just my first and last name, to be honest.
And what if they want to hire the junk removal or cleaning?
R&R Junk Removal is our
R&R.
Instagram tag, and Smells Lovely Cleaning is our Instagram tag for the cleaning service as well.
Right on. And we'll get them posted so they know as well. We'll find out your personal Instagram handle, and we'll be able to post that for you. Yeah. But and if you're not following any of these pages or any of the things that Darnell is doing, please make sure you get out there and you follow them. Check all the great things out that Darnell does, because he does some great things, not just for the recovery community, but for the community itself. And that's so important. Spreading awareness, breaking the stigma, and just, kicking ass.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Darnell Hinton, thank you so much for joining me today. Everybody else out there, this is Britt James on USALA Media. Remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. Have a great rest of your day.